You've told yourself you were going to stop. You were going to say no more often. You were going to stop twisting yourself into whatever shape made the people around you most comfortable. And for a while, maybe you did. And then someone needed something, or someone seemed disappointed, or there was just that look, and you were right back to where you started. Here's what nobody tells you: people pleasing cannot be fixed with willpower, because it was never a decision. It was a nervous system response, one that was trained into you long before you had any say in the matter, and until you understand what it actually is. Every attempt to stop it is going to feel like trying to hold your breath underwater. Something in you is going to break first. People pleasing is not a personality trait. It is not a sign of weakness, and it is not, despite what many well-meaning Christians have been told, a form of selflessness. People pleasing is a survival strategy. It is what the nervous system learns to do when it has experienced repeatedly and early enough that the emotional climate around you is safest when you are agreeable, when you don't make demands, when you anticipate what others need and provide it before they have to ask. It is the pattern of a nervous system that learned to outsource its sense of safety to other people's approval. In psychology, this pattern is often linked to what researchers call the Fawn response, one of 4 stress responses alongside fight, flight, and freeze. The Fawn response is activated when conflict feels genuinely threatening. Not threatening in an abstract sense, but threatening in the body, in the nervous system, in the deep cellular memory of what happened the last time someone around you was unhappy. For many people with this pattern, the discomfort of someone being disappointed in them produces a physical response: tension in the chest, a tightening of the stomach, a kind of low-grade panic that the conscious mind has learned to manage by immediately doing whatever is necessary to make the discomfort go away. That immediate action is people-pleasing, and it works, which is exactly why it keeps happening. This is the part that willpower cannot touch. You can decide consciously and sincerely that you are going to say no more often. But when the fawn response activates, when someone's displeasure triggers that nervous system alarm, the decision is already irrelevant. The pattern moves faster than intention. It moves faster than values. It moves faster than the voice in your head that knows you need to hold the boundary. This is not a character flaw. This is neuroscience, and it requires a different kind of intervention than motivation or resolve. Where does this pattern come from? Almost always it begins in childhood, in an environment where love, approval, or safety felt conditional. It might have been a parent whose mood was unpredictable, and keeping them happy felt like keeping the peace. It might have been a family system where conflict was avoided at all costs, and the role of the easygoing child felt safer than the role of the difficult one. It might have been a religious environment where submission and selflessness were praised so consistently that the healthy expression of personal needs began to feel spiritually suspect. Or it might have been nothing dramatic at all. Just the slow accumulation of learning that the people who mattered most responded better to you when you were agreeable than when you were honest. The Apostle Paul addresses this pattern directly, in a way that often surprises people who have only heard Galatians 1:10 used as a call to boldness. He writes, "Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Or am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ." This is not a rebuke of kindness. Paul is not telling us to be difficult or indifferent to others. He is naming the specific dynamic of living for human approval as a primary source of security and calling it incompatible with a life that is genuinely anchored in God. Because a life anchored in people's approval is, by definition, not anchored. It shifts with every mood, every look, every unanswered message. It is exhausting, and it is never enough. If this is something you've been trying to change for a long time, subscribe to this channel. Every week I create content at the intersection of psychology and Christian faith. I don't want you to miss what's coming. So what does healing from people-pleasing actually require, if not willpower? It requires 3 things, and they build on each other in a specific order. The first is awareness in real time, not awareness after the fact, that you already have. You already know, looking back, that you agreed to something you didn't want. The shift that changes things is learning to notice the Fawn response as it activates, to feel the chest tighten, to notice the impulse to immediately smooth things over, and to name it before you act on it. This creates a pause, and in that pause, which might be only 2 or 3 seconds long, there's a choice that did not exist before. Not a comfortable choice, not an easy choice, but a real one. The second thing required is tolerating the discomfort of disappointing someone without it meaning everything. This is the core work of healing people-pleasing, and it is genuinely difficult, because the people-pleaser's nervous system has been trained to experience someone's disappointment as a threat, not an inconvenience, a threat. And until that association is updated through repeated experience of disappointing someone and the relationship surviving, of holding a boundary and the world not ending, the nervous system will continue to treat disapproval as an emergency. You cannot think your way out of this. You have to live your way out of it, one small moment at a time. The third element, and this is where faith becomes not decorative but structural, is reorienting the question of whose approval you are actually living for. Galatians 1:10 is not just a theological statement. It is a practical reorientation of the nervous system's most fundamental question. The people-pleaser's nervous system is always asking, what does this person need from me right now? The healed person's nervous system learns gradually and with practice to ask a different question first. What is true right now? What does love actually require in this moment? Not fear-driven appeasement, but genuine care. And beneath that, the most stabilizing question of all. Am I approved by the only one whose approval is permanent? This does not mean becoming indifferent to people. It means becoming free enough to actually love them, without the constant undercurrent of fear that makes love conditional on their response. The people-pleaser cannot love freely because love and self-protection have become tangled together. What looks like generosity is often anxiety in disguise. What looks like service is often the exhausted labor of someone who doesn't believe they are allowed to stop. And the freedom that the gospel offers, not just theologically, but neurologically, relationally, in the actual lived experience of daily life, is the freedom to give from fullness rather than from fear. If what we've explored today is something you want to go deeper with, I created a structured 7-day journey to help you calm your mind and begin working through the patterns driving your people-pleasing. It's called the 7-Day Guided Journey to Calm Your Mind. The link is in the description below. It's practical, it's gentle, and it's built for exactly this kind of inner work. Take the next step at your own pace. You were not designed to live for an audience of many. You were designed to live for an audience of one. And when that becomes not just a belief, but an actual experience, something in you begins to loosen. Subscribe to this channel. Every week I create content at the intersection of psychology and Christian faith because your inner life matters. You are not alone in this.